Welcome to the BleedRedBlacks podcast.
Best fans in the league right here, baby!
With your hosts, Colin and Mike.
Susie Q.
Produced by Mark and Johnny Z. BleedRedBlacks starts now.
BleedRedBlacks.
Gabriel is open in the end zone. Touchdown! The Ottawa fans and players are going crazy.
Your number one podcast for all things Red Black.
Left, Henry still on his feet. Now the toss, and it is caught for the touchdown. Wallace Miles.
Every season,
Marco drops the pass. End zone shot. Back right corner. Caught for the touchdown. Jamal Smith.
all season.
For Burris on first down, drops the pass, pressured in the pocket, takes off himself, down to the goal line. Touchdown, Burris.
Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the BleedRedBlacks podcast. I'm Colin and I'm joined here once again by the one and only season ticket holder Mike. Hello, monsieur.
What's up? It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday show this week, and the reason you can't wash Montebello off in a day.
Are you kidding me? Like I think we could almost bump this back a week.
I'd feel better, right? Mark's,
and obviously, once again, we're joined here by producer Mark. What's up, buddy?
Feeling well rested and ready to go for the week.
All right, so let's see if we can do this.
let's get an intro in here.
Let's do it. Okay, so Lansdowne is officially live. I mean, we knew they could do it, and what an amazing development it has turned out to be, right?
Unbelievable. Can't say enough about that.
Yeah,
building.
and I mean, just one short year. I mean, think how far we've come. You know, like last year we were worried that they might even not have the stadium finished for the start of the season, or people were worried. I mean,
people get worried like tickets aren't going to show up, buildings aren't going to be built.
Hey, the game's July 4th. You know, like
Good. What we got?
we got a week and a
7
half.
days, 14 actually. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So, yeah, I mean, I think that what they've given us is what we expected, and once the rest of the residential development gets completed, we're really going to understand the impact of this awesome neighborhood, really.
Yeah, and it's great to be. It's such a part of Whole Foods is in my wheelhouse now for groceries, and this weekend you were at you took in a little bit of Lansdowne yesterday. I believe.
Yeah, yesterday. So I had the day off yesterday, a little personal health day after a weekend with the boys, and I went down to local, had some good food, had a cheap pop, and then rolled over to Joey's for a little throwback to the Grey Cup party, and to honor that party, I thought I'd rip those dragon rolls with the sriracha aioli.
Amazing,
again. Pretty glorious. Like, obviously, it wasn't Vancouver sushi.
No.
But it was better than the stuff I grab at Loblaws.
Where are they getting that? Out of Lake Ontario? I don't know. What do you?
Oh, and it was actually carp.
It's a joke.
It was carp sashimi.
It's carp sushimi.
out of
the Carp River.
Out of the canal.
Out of the mighty nation.
South branch of the South Nation. It's my favorite.
Lots of food options though. We did. I got a chance to get out to Rib Fest before we went to Montebello. I think that was my last full meal that didn't include poutine. So
kind of cyclical. It was the last thing I did after Montebello. So as soon as I got home, checked the clock, had an hour to rip down, and I guess my appetite had left me because I went down there and didn't wind up getting anything. So.
Just stared at the barbecue.
I just found the barbecue with the biggest fan and just stood next to it, and it was just covered in smoke and felt like I was in a Def Leppard video or something.
Yeah. Always a great event. Good for Spark Street for putting that together.
I mean, I'm seeing new businesses open there, and I'm happy. I think that could be a really cool spot, and I wish it was.
It's a mall. At the end of the day,
really bizarre, right?
It's funny. I've had this discussion before with fellow friends. I've worked with the BIA in the past, and it's a mall. And but yeah, it's a mall.
Yeah,
and it's a street. So good for them. Good for doing some things that get people down there and recognizing that it's there's business there.
Yeah, it's a great spot.
Westfest worked for Westboro doing that, getting people down there and recognizing there's places to shop. So good for them.
So really quickly, Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup and Golden State Warriors win the NBA title.
Unbelievable.
So moving right along. Mike?
Well, first of all, we got to remind our listeners before we get into the Montebello podcast here for a few minutes.
Right.
We are doing, this is the intro, and you will get a game review from now on, plus all our normal segments from Janine and Santino. But our game preview segment will be a separate download, and it should hit the streets Thursdays latest, maybe noon or in the afternoon or even in the morning. And this week that will be obviously game day, but other weeks it'll always drop the game preview. It was something that kind of worked last year, and our listeners were downloading it and enjoying it on the bus, or we'd get tweets about them listening to it in the car on the way to the game. So we thought that would work again this year. So we're going to actually, you will not get the game preview in this episode, but it will be a separate download.
Oh, great. Well, that'll give us, something to do, and you get to hear us twice a week now.
Yeah, it was kind of
joy.
The marketing division. It's a whole thing with human resources here with Bleed Red Blacks, but we got it sorted out. We all signed off.
Well,
they
wouldn't give me that. They wouldn't give me that 5th week vacation. So
yeah, this is how we had to do it. Yep. So here we are.
Yeah, 3 short days until our beloved Red Blacks kick off the season, and I can't wait. And starting the season in Montreal, it's going to be awesome. Our nation will be well represented with multiple bus trips and lots of people.
There's a bus trip out of Armprior. There's a bus trip out of the Red Blacks bus trip on the Greyhound is awesome. Yeah. And then there's another bus trip being done by a fan somewhere here that's going to leave, I guess, TD Place. Yeah, so everybody's kind of getting on board.
And there's other people just driving down, and it's nice that it's close enough, right? Yeah. Like,
2 hours down the highway is not a bad drive at all.
Absolutely. And I mean, when Montreal is a destination, like 2 hours down the highway going to Peterborough, it's not as appealing as 2 hours down the highway going to Montreal, right? No offense to 7. Gorgeous drive.
It is.
Gorgeous drive.
Beautiful road. Yeah.
Stop in Tweed and get some delicious coffee. They got at their coffee shop there. They got a fisherman's blend.
It's a good coffee.
Oh my word! It is, to quote you,
Mr. Smith. Yeah, oh my word.
All right. Well, let's just get right into this.
People are waiting for the Montebello update, and
I'm afraid to start it because I feel like this might just be covered.
Rock and roll and football, baby.
So what a trip! Like I don't even know where to start, but let me just say, mad props to Canada Dream RV Rentals.
The Canada Dream.
It was a dream.
The Canada Dream, and it was never a Canada nightmare.
Can of dreams, no. It was
never a nightmare, never a Canamare.
Canamare. Hey, we can start a competitor. Rent like black ones or something.
Yeah.
So we rented us a beauty of an RV, and it was very well equipped, comfortable, relatively cost effective.
Even came with a floor mat.
Yeah, we sure got our money's worth out of that thing. No, but seriously, I recommend it to anyone looking to just party it up with friends, family. Great way to see the country. Hashtag RV fluff.
RV life, man.
Okay, so little Rockfest history. So it's a little festival that started around 10 years ago. It was just a kind of a modest little thing. It has exploded into, I think I've heard various people say the biggest festival
in North America,
in the Western world. Yeah. It was their 10th anniversary. I think they had 160K in there last year. They were expecting 200 this year, and it brings in like a jagillions of dollars into the local economy.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was reading an article about a gentleman in town that just talked about how if they had one more weekend like that, he wouldn't have to work for the rest of the year, basically. And we were talking about big money, like $30,000, and beer sales out of his like tiny little bar or whatever. So
it's just amazing, like the mutual respect that's really shown, like from the residents to the festival patrons and vice versa. You figure that many people camping, and like there's no vandalism, there's no fighting, there's no garbage, there's no broken glass. It's just amazing that many people can get together and act like that. And I read an article today, and the festival organizer said he's learned over the years that more rules creates aggression. Mm-hmm. So he's found this healthy balance of reducing rules, putting responsibility more back on the people, and having people just chill out and kind of do what they want.
Yeah.
And a lot of the bands referenced that it had a feel of an Asian music festival, because nowhere else do they play are there not metal detectors or, like really strict rules as far as, I mean, it's pretty much a free-for-all once you get in there, right?
Precisely.
So it's just really awesome, and I'm just really glad that you were able to come with us. So
it's a great time. We got it going the right way, though. When we got to Walmart, I was funny. I tweeted a picture of our grocery cart of everything. And my wife gets back to me with a text. She goes, "I'm glad to see you're making healthy decisions."
Yeah, I looked at that picture and I'm like, did you move all of the chips, fruit roll-ups, and pudding to the bottom? I like grapes,
Pop-Tarts.
hummus. Yeah.
I definitely, you know, the business I'm in, we stage photos a lot. So.
Oh, that wasn't our cart.
I was wondering why Mike was sitting there with the tweezers gluing the sesame seeds on top of each package.
Wow, that's a nice lacquered hamburger bun.
Yeah. But yeah, they loved us at Walmart, man. Like us, just what a crew rolling in there and just grabbing cases of water.
I saw every security guy in that back room had those cameras right on us. We looked like we crawled out of a ditch. We'd only been in the RV for 15 minutes.
I mean, all those healthy choices. I still eat poutine almost every day, so twice a day sometimes. So
moderation. At least you need it twice a day.
Yeah.
So we rolled out of town relatively early, and the night before I actually went to the FIFA game, and I was well behaved. And I think all you boys were well behaved Wednesday night as well, and we were able to get out of here a good time. Picked up the RV, and I mean, rolling. you know the age we're at when the first thing we grab is 4 cases of water, and we came home with beer, not water. So
yeah,
good work, boys. It still blows me away every time I roll into Rockfest, and like I know you'd mentioned this a few minutes ago, but like every resident finds a way, one way or another, to make some cash.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they're selling everything from food, letting people camp on your lawn, they're selling use of their showers. Like, one guy literally set up a store in his front lawn, and he said he offered Interact, and one of our friends bought a fleece off of him.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was obviously used, and it was, had birch trees and wolves on it. And I'm like, oh, is the cat hair and the food stains included? But, I mean, he's got people pretty much bent over. If you're cold and you need a jacket,
that fleece was comfy, man.
Yeah, wolf, you know.
But who doesn't want a wolf fleece?
You know, if I was him selling it, I would have said that's actually wolf hair. That's of the wolf on your fleece.
And you could have sold it to anybody.
At that point, would have sounds about right. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, the land of poutine, I mean, that statement is so legit. Like, it was harder to find whole wheat bread than it was to get any meal poutined, right?
I know.
And I mean, man, we had so much fun. I mean, I wrote here more one-liners than a comedy special, but seriously, man, getting us together for an extended period of time.
My face hurt from laughing.
Oh, I'm trying not to smile now. It's hard. It's just, I think I aged, not only because I usually stay out of the sun, but smiling and sunshine. That's the 2 ways of getting old, right? That's why you got to stay.
Put on our sunscreen every day. None of us got sunburns.
Yeah, no, we were very responsible. So yeah, Friday we wake up in the air-conditioned... Oh, sorry, Thursday night there was a free show, but not too many people made it. Propaganda played. Yeah. A few of our buddies, punk rockers, went down to check it out, and we just went back to the RV, had a few beers, and cooked a lasagna and played Crazy 8 Countdown.
Yeah, unbelievable.
True story.
Hashtag RV life.
There you go. So we wake up Friday morning, air-conditioned comforts, breakfast at Billups Diner, followed by dad-approved shower, fill up the water tank. Just amazing.
Yeah, we had an RV, Dad.
Yeah.
I was voted best teen burger, apparently.
Yeah, so Mark's officially was dad. He was pretty much running the show. It was awesome.
I'm the oldest guy there, and I was voted teen. I don't know why.
Oh, it was a mustache vote.
It was a mustache vote.
No, if
that
it was
duster.
If it was a Gene vote, then we would have called you dad.
Yeah, amazing.
So the lineups moved really well.
It was amazing, right? They had a way of getting people through the line in a hurry, which was
and
they had a 2-tiered system getting.
Yeah, they kind of held everybody back to a certain point so you didn't jam into the entrance itself.
Yeah, that's true.
And they let people through in groups, and that lineup moved really quickly.
Really, and they were moving a lot of people through there, and I think that speaks volumes to a lot of the people going in.
Well, I think Saturday night when we wanted to see the main headliner, we went to go see Slayer. Yeah. We're in line, and there was, 3 or 4 queues kind of snaking back and forth, and we were through it in 10 minutes tops.
Yep. It's pretty awesome.
But we got in there Friday for Dillinger Escape Plan. And
what a way to start.
What a band.
What a way to start. So their vocalist, Greg, who I'm a big fan of, he couldn't make it across the border.
A little dust up at the border.
And but, I mean, did he ever give Dillinger Escape Plan a chance to shine? And they were awesome. And I don't know if you guys have seen them before, but the show you witnessed wasn't a typical show. What they did, because their vocalist was gone and most of their new music's very vocally driven, they played all their old stuff. So you guys got to see the stuff that I've I grew up on that stuff, and it was it's not very palatable. It's very technical, but I think you just watch them, and whether you get it or not, you can't help but appreciate like just the crazy talent these guys have.
It's the same with Carcass. When you introduced me to Carcass, which was the next great show we saw on Friday,
the next band,
and it was like, again, that metal was just driven like from old school metal. It was just the guitarist was just railing, and it was awesome.
And it says a lot when you see. I mean, I've waited my whole life literally to see Carcass, a UK band. And did they ever represent the UK? So there's multiple punk bands there, and this Grammy old vocalist, awesome accent. I try to repeat it, but it wouldn't be doing justice. But he said, there's only the Exploited are the only real punk band at this festival.
True story.
And there was at least like 40 other punk bands, so that's pretty bad move, It's pretty awesome. So it says a lot about him. But Carcass were awesome, and for me, another band that meant a lot to me, and just awesome that you guys liked it, because I feel like if you said anything negative about the show, I might have just bounced. I don't know.
Yeah. That's all it would have taken, eh?
You know what? Yeah, so I ran into an old friend from high school, and it was cool. Decided to turn back the clock, go watch Bad Religion.
Good.
And I'm not a big Bad Religion guy these days, but it's always awesome when music comes on that really helps you relive some old memories. And I think you kind of went through the same thing, right, that night?
I saw Offspring and Sublime. Mark and I just jammed out to some Sublime, and then the Offspring just had a great set, and that took me back 20 years, so it was awesome.
Cool. Yeah, so that was about it. I mean, it's pretty killer when your camping spot's so close to the front gate that you can actually hear the main stage. Like, we really did nail it this year.
And if you wanted to go back and grab a bottle of water, put some more sunscreen on, it was like a 30-minute round trip for us?
I had a nap between the Misfits and Gargle by Dello that lasted an hour and 45 minutes. I set my timer. I was just up like a zombie with a bottle of water and a beer and back to the line. I'm like, must go see Gargle by Dello. Just walking down the street, like, because you're staying up till 4:30 in the morning, right? So you need a nap in the afternoon. Perfect. And that's what was great about us. We were all close, and we had a spot to meet up at inside the festival. It was amazing.
Awesome.
Next thing you know, it was Saturday. And
I mean,
I can't say enough about this band. Can I say it? Can I introduce?
I want to hear you. Oh yeah, you go for it.
So Refused, you sent me a link to Refused probably about 3 months ago, and I listened to that album. I can't tell you what the name of the album.
The Shape of Punk to Come.
Yes. And it was a reminder of how awesome music was back in the late 90s. And a very close friend of mine, when you had tweeted me that, reminded him, he's like, how come you haven't heard this before? I've fed you this awesome music before.
Yeah.
You liked At the Drive-In. How did you not like this? And I'm addicted to it now. I think that album is like fantastic. And to see those dudes play live was just an absolute incredible moment. Like, those guys are tight on stage and so professional. They were like the best dressed dudes there as well, which I thought was kind of cool. They dressed like, I don't know.
Well, they dress like musicians, not like they're at, I don't know,
the mom's basement.
No, I was going to say the X Games half pipe competition.
Yeah.
And speaking of professionals, Snoop Dogg.
What?
Snoop Dogg karaoke, as we like to call it.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Okay, to me it seemed like someone called them up and was like, "You got to do a gig. We're not prepared. We haven't practiced, but we'll give you the songs you have to fake rap when you get on stage."
Yeah.
And it was like, it was I don't know. It was weird.
It was bad.
Like, when I say Snoop Dogg to you, what songs out of his back catalog pop into your head?
I Love Rock and Roll by John Jett. Oh,
precisely. That was the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, he did karaoke that one.
It was a weird set. One thing I want to mention about Refused before I forget is don't forget to check out facebook.com/BleedRedBlacks podcast on Facebook. Like our page. There's an amazing video that I put up there of like it's a Refused song with like bits of Slayer in it, and there's just a great little photo montage and video montage of our weekend plus football in it. But that's a Refused song. And it's called New Noise, and that's why I put it on there. So.
Sounds good. So Pizza Cone, where did you go?
Hey, we were obsessed with this Pizza Cone place. I'd had Pizza Cone before, which is so good. And we had all just had this moment where we said we're gonna have a Pizza Cone together,
and we're gonna have a photo
of us.
We're all gonna hold the cones, and it's gonna be like our trophy or like our victory.
We're gonna
photo.
hide up in the air, and the cones will meet in a triangle.
Right.
And we will hold those.
We become Voltron.
And we become Voltron. Yeah, exactly.
But it didn't happen.
Exactly, Dad. So, RV Dad.
Thanks for clarifying, Dad.
RV Dad. And then what happens? We wait till the last minute on Saturday night, and we get the pizza cone, and they canceled it ASAP. They shut her right down.
They had already moved on to bigger and better things, apparently, or maybe just people. I mean, I knew there were a lot of cones going around that weekend, but I didn't know there were pizza cones.
Hey now.
So, I mean, honestly, like, there's nothing more delicious than a $1 hot dog, right?
I had to tell my wife I had 2 hot dogs in one session. I was like, that's crazy.
Don't tell anybody. I hadn't eaten. I don't know how long it had been since I'd had like a dirty steamer.
Yeah.
Just turn the brain off. Don't think about what's in it. And just put her down.
I soaked it in mustard and relish and everything.
Yeah.
I lost a few shirts this weekend.
Was a saucy dog by the time you walk back over to the light post.
So we had a pretty awesome day.
It's my nickname, by the way, Saucy Dog.
A good. Isn't that what you have on the back of your surf style jacket?
You know.
So we had a pretty awesome day, and we went back. Yeah, and all of a sudden it's like, now what do you want to do? I don't know. How about we'll go see Slayer? Yeah. So if the VI pences are rocking, don't come and knocking.
Absolutely. And you and I had right away, the D-Gens and us, we're watching this VIP fence just getting like shook to the metal grind of Slayer, and you and I look at each other and we're like, over under 10 minutes. You're like, good, I'll take the under.
I would compare it to
it never went down.
Ultimate Warrior on the top rope. Does that sound good? Right? Except there was like, 200,000 Ultimate Warriors, basically.
Shaking that fence, trying to get into the VIP.
Earlier that day, it got taken down. I think it was during Sublime. It got knocked right down. And then the poor security guards are trying to lift it up with like 2,500 people trying to charge over top of it.
It's funny. In hindsight, we were probably in kind of a precarious / dangerous spot there if the fence did go down. But in hindsight, it didn't, and we have an awesome video. So
we'll do it again next year.
I don't want to do the risk analysis of everything I do, or I'll probably just lock myself in like a box.
But what a weekend! 3 showers, clean up the RV, and we're on our way coming home.
Yeah, I mean,
great driving soundtrack on the way back too.
Yeah,
it was just great, and I mean, this was whatever. I mean, our buddies we've been fighting with this all weekend. Was it the 4th time we've been here, or the 5th time we've been here, or the 6th time we've been here? Like, whatever, who cares? We've been there a bunch, and this is definitely
the best
as far
one.
As like planning, logistics.
Thanks for
partying.
Thanks for setting that up for me like that.
Oh, Dad! Perfect. Thank Dad. He's great. That's what dads are for, man. Happy Father's Day, by the way.
So the next, we're going to move into Santino segment next. He's going to talk about the season tickets with the fan picks and how awesome OSEG has been by keeping the fans involved in the process. And then you and I are going to get to basically the last edition of Camp Life and the final cuts.
And by the way, it's great to see you guys. I mean, we haven't seen you for
48 hours.
Yeah,
I know it's been a long, tough road.
You both look really good, and I'm looking forward to hear what you've been up to the last couple of days.
It's too late. Cancel the show.
Let's do it. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Bleed Red Blacks podcast. Check us out on Twitter at BleedRedBlacks and on Facebook at facebook.com/BleedRedBlacks podcast.
Live from Brazil, here's the Red Black Renegade rant with Santino Filoso.
Are you ready?
Do you really mean to tell me that a 5'0" wide receiver is worth $40,000 more than Chad Owens?
We'll do it live!
If the helmets weren't ready this week, they should have pushed their introduction back.
It has begun.
Normally, I use this segment to rant about something bothering me, but today I'm going to rave about a fantastic gesture on the part of the Red Blacks. In early April, the team invited members of our nation down to TD Place to take part in a fan photo shoot. Those who showed up wore team colors, face paint, and carried flags and other interesting props. At the time, the Red Blacks were pretty mum on the subject, advertising it as a chance for fans to feel part of the team, but in a small disclaimer, they said some of the images might be selected for promotional purposes. Well, this week, as the first trickle of over 16,000 season tickets arrived in the mail, fans were delighted to see that the Red Blacks had used images from the fan photo shoot on the season tickets, with each game ticket featuring a different fan or group of fans. It's an absolutely brilliant move from the OSEG marketing team. Ottawa was the only team in the league to sell out every home game last season, and even though they were only treated to 2 wins, our nation always made TD Place a loud and rowdy venue for visiting teams to enter. The images on the tickets feature fans of all demographics and is an incredible way to build brand loyalty. For those fans lucky enough to be on the tickets, they now have cool souvenirs for life. People on eBay sell tickets from the 1950s, so you know these will be around for a while. And for those who didn't make it down to this year's photo shoot, you can be sure that the next fan photo shoot will see even more members of our nation present, in hopes that maybe they'll make next year's cut. Also, how awesome is it for family and friends of those selected to see their loved ones on real game tickets? This move really epitomizes just how in tune with the local community that OSEG is. Previous owners of the failed Rough Rider and Renegade franchises never would have made a move like this, because to them, the fans were always an afterthought. It's refreshing and comforting to see that Jeff Hunt and his partners truly understand that in this market, with this team, players may come and go, but fans are forever. That's all for this week, guys. Let me know your thoughts on the season tickets at RedBlackGade, and remember to bleed Red Blacks.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Bleed Red Blacks podcast. Check us out at bleedredblacks.ca for blogs, photos, and podcast archives. Okay, Camp Life. This will be our last Camp Life installment with the Red Blacks firing up their season in a few short days in Montreal.
Next time you hear this segment, it'll be a game review.
That's right, yeah, and hopefully...
Talking about a big W, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hopefully we'll be playing our favorite Charlie Sheen clip. Right, yep. Every win, I think we got to roll that song. Right, it's the best. That's my favorite from last year. It was so much fun. Yeah, so let's just go through a few cuts here. A few surprises, and obviously my curse is still strong. So let's just get into the one that we all want to talk about right away. Is the Jamel Smith cut. A tough one to swallow, yet an understandable kind of move. It came to no one's surprise due to our amount of
there's
depth.
A lot of national wide receiver depth, which leads us into that. With the injuries we have, it's a good thing that we have that depth now.
Oh, absolutely, and I mean we'll talk about that a little later, but just the addition of Chris Williams would have made it tough for him, right?
Yeah,
an all-star at his position, straight up there head-to-head competition, and I mean. We thought he did what we thought he would do, and he went out on top. He got cut. He was absent from social media, I think, for like a 48-hour period.
Good cool down time.
Yeah, very smart. Says a lot about him. And then the message he put out was very simple and classy, and he was receiving tons of fan support, community support. He was one of those guys that I hope there's some way he sticks around and can find a practice roster spot. I know he's not on there now, but. Yeah, just a class act and positive vibes coming to and fro Mr. Smith. And, amazing human being, community member. Good and, we're disappointed to see him go, and I hope that he gets picked up quickly, not only as just a hard-working athlete, but a good young man.
I can find a fourth chair for him down here if he needs it,
Yeah, well...
Let's get him on the show.
He'd be a good addition. He's familiar with his social... His social issues, and it's good. He's a smart guy. So, anyways, best of luck to you, Jamil, and hopefully you land on your feet sooner than later.
Yep, keep at her.
So like I said, the curse continues.
Oh my, the curse of the Colino.
Curse of the Colino. So I picked out my favorite dudes from training camp. Justin Cudworth on D and Lanier Sampson. I'm sorry, guys. Never fails. Apparently, this curse is legit.
It's a real deal, man.
You want to talk to Samson, but now you can't.
I know. I know. Like, I guess I'll just burn his business card. So other than that, like, not too many big cuts that are surprises. I guess.
So Sinopoli's on the disabled list. So he hits a 6-gamer? I don't have it in front of me.
So Sinopoli's on the disabled list, not on the 6-gamers. So I don't know that the 6-gamers you can activate them sooner. I think he's on more of like a long-term thing. So, I mean, because there's a 1-gamer, a 6-gamer, and he's on the disabled list.
He's on the disabled list.
So him and Jonathan Williams, defensive linemen, are on the disabled list to start the season.
I got a quote from somebody. A source was saying that I guess he was damaged goods when we got him. And that's why they've been pretty quiet about the situation. They want fans to know.
Yeah, I guess that kills your PR, your PR spin, right? So
word on the street is, he'll be ready to go when he's ready, and they don't want to rush the fact that he's. Word on the street, it's a shoulder injury.
Okay.
Which makes sense. We didn't really see him running a lot of routes. The first day that we went to camp, he was actually throwing the ball. For a little bit.
Unless it's his opposite shoulder, maybe.
Who knows? But
anyways,
maybe he was just testing it out.
And I mean, he's a smart guy and a good guy, so I feel like he'll find his place regardless of when that is or where he plays or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. Janin will still wear that jersey, though, with pride, so.
I don't know if I hope so, yeah.
And the tattoo she got, so.
Yeah. The 88 tattoo.
Is it 88?
I think that's what number he's wearing. I mean,
cool.
Worst case, you just say it's I know we keep bringing this up again.
Eric Lindros. Dude, I'm going to call him this weekend.
Yeah?
He's working a car dealership down in Mississauga.
He'd probably get Brett on the line, but he may not remember who he is.
It's too soon for that, man. Too soon.
So too bad. It's another name that kind of jumps out to me starting the season on the injured list. It's just the one gamer is Marcus Henry. And he was our go-to guy last year, so he might be banged up a little bit.
Either he's banged up, or they feel like they can give other guys some shots at those starting positions. And even though I know Marcus was, he was like the target last year, solid target, seemed to pull down the balls out of like overthrown passes. He was able to make some nice catches last year.
He was the one reliable guy. And another guy who is starting the year on the one-game injured list is Khalil Payton. I know he was pumped to make the squad. His reaction,
big time.
So that's great to see. And it must have been a tough fight because when we were there at wide receiver, I don't know how they're gonna break this down.
Yeah, and with Payton, it's almost like again that move is to see the other starters at their best, and we'll see. It's still early. Obviously, we're not even through game one, but. Who knows? Maybe somebody will drop off and he'll be starting game 2. So I've got a lot of patience for that guy. He's a really talented kid.
So I know you talked about this depth at wide receiver, but national depth at wide receiver, it's second to none, and just such a luxury.
Well, they added.
Well, they cut one and added another. They added that young lad from Saskatchewan who he seems super pumped to be here, and.
You gonna pronounce his last name for me if you could?
Alex P. Ski.
Alex P. Keaton. What
Alex
amazing.
P. Keaton. How much change did I just drop on the floor? Sorry. How many people will get that reference?
Amazing.
What's the Mallory's boyfriend? Skippy?
Skippy.
Is that the same show? I'm thinking of Nick.
We're on the basement tapes again. Are we recording the basement tapes again?
Yeah. So I just think it's amazing, just the depth that we have here, and I mean. We preached our lack of there last year, so tough cuts are a good thing.
And us picking up some of the tidbits and the quote unquote garbage, somebody would say on Twitter from other teams. I mean, that's what the CFL is about. The CFL is about balancing your national roster versus your international, and just making sure you have that depth there. So, picking up other players from other teams is a part of this process.
I think it's hard cuts don't tell me that Jamil didn't perform. Hard cuts tell me that we actually have a team, like, you know what I mean? It's not a bad thing for me. I mean, as an individual, it's tough seeing him leave, but the collective goal is to win. And if I trust they know what they're doing. So
yeah.
Okay, so
the inter-squad game. I guess we missed it.
Yeah, well, we were in Montebello. I was wondering if anyone went. I'd love to hear kind of your comments, reactions, or whatever. And was it well attended, or was it intense? And did Richie bring Clint that Iron Maiden beer he promised he would bring him?
The one Mark gets here, I've seen it in his
Trooper.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I mean, these are questions that need to be answered.
I know that's most important. I wasn't worried about the cuts.
Saturday, who got that last bottle of Trooper beer from the LCBO?
Yeah, Saturday night, that was my biggest focus there. Right after Slayer.
We're going to see Slayer, man. Richie better pulled through for Clint. We got to talk to him.
Because metal came up. I started talking about Iron Maiden.
That's right.
I love Iron Maiden.
So, what do you guys think the biggest story is coming out of this year's camp? So, I wrote down a few things, and this is just my kind of.
Yeah, and it is. It was a funny year because this was our first year of total investment in this second year of training camp. It's like now you've got this base for a squad and additions to the squad. And Justin Phillips is still injured. We'll talk about that later. But how is special teams going to react and all these other things. and all these players coming in, and the big signings at wide receiver. So what's the bigger story? I mean, that's the question.
So I'm thinking, here's what I wrote, basically. Coming out of camp for me, cutting in Jamil Smith, that's a big Bleed Red Black story for me, right?
Yeah, personal.
Kickergate
again.
The mayor's gone. The rest are looking suspect, and the only videos that we can be excited about is a kicker that can do a backflip.
Yeah,
right? Like,
and a 45-year-old veteran kicker said no to coming to Ottawa, and I doubt money would have been the issue. Yeah. I'm not sure. Anyways, that's a whole other. Who knows? Jason
Moss and Chu leading our new high-powered offense, or depth, and I'm going to put equal weight on all of them. This is what I think. These are all awesome things that come out of camp this year. My biggest stories. So
yeah, I agree with that totally, and I'm not convinced that that the special teams are going to be up to snuff, and I think that's going to be a battle for us, and we'll talk about that in the game preview. But whether it's kicking, punting, or return coverage, I think we have a lot of work to do.
Let's just go through this roster real quick, and then we will hand off to Johnny Z and Janin, and we'll get the rock out of here. So one game injured list. We see Brock Jensen on there, so they found a way to keep him around, right?
Just for
I don't know how much time he's got. I feel like Danny O and
you'll see him slip in between there in the practice roster.
Yeah,
week after week.
So Khalil and Marcus are also on the one game injured list. Hugo Lopez, defensive back, and Forrest Hightower also are on there. Now, a few names that jumped out to us on the 6-game injured list. You just brought up one. Justin Phillips.
Yeah.
That's a little concerning, coming off a major injury.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he just needed a little more time, and maybe it's one of those things
maybe
where
he felt a little tweaked, he felt a little rusty, maybe he needs a little bit more time.
And like I said, the flexibility of the 6-game injured list, right? You can peel him back if you need to. And now another guy that's not surprising is on there is Matt Carter, and
he took that lick in that game.
Yeah, you and I were worried about that.
I was so mad. Like, I remember just feeling that, like, plus I was watching it on the streaming, so they weren't really talking about the injury, and you were waiting for it. And the quick replay I saw was a late hit. It was just, and I'd like to know if that guy made the roster. I don't know who hit him.
Yeah.
But did you make the roster, son? Do you feel good about yourself? You
like,
almost messed somebody's career.
That was multiple seconds afterwards. It was terribly late.
I almost just swore. So yeah,
and
not happy.
So another guy that's on there is Jake Hardy, and I don't know what derived that, but I mean, you and I don't think he was ready for game action anyway. To be honest,
not from what we saw at camp. No,
and he can just kind of, hopefully he'll one of these new high performance guys will kind of take him under their wing and mentor him and kind of show him the ways of what it takes to be a professional football player.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of depth on the practice roster. A few familiar faces. No one really. I mean, Tanner Dahl, young linebacker, wound up there, but that's okay. Alexander Lagunier, another young draft pick. That's okay. They belong there. And I also see that that stupid joke I say about the U.S. Open all the time. Michael Campbell, he made the practice roster.
The practice roster.
And then we rounded off with Janin's tattoo and Jonathan Williams on the disabled list. So
you're right, number 88. I have it here on my list now.
Yeah,
So this week, again, just to reevaluate, that was the last of the Camp Life segment. The next segment coming up will be Janin, Around the CFL. Janin this week on Around the CFL. The next segment we'll be talking about head coaches around the league and what they have to offer and whether or not on the cutting block and whatnot. So it's good to have another Janin segment coming up. And how we're going to do it now is after the Janin segment, we're going to roll right into the Johnny Z segment.
So who does Johnny have for us this week?
This week's band, the name is Eagleson. They're a 4-piece rock band from here in Ottawa, of course.
First album, Park and Ride. Hopefully not.
Eagleson Park and Ride.
Look both ways before you cross the street and then run.
Band members include Alex DePaul on vocals, Peter Ian on guitar, Daniel O'Brien, best hair in the Ottawa music scene, apparently is on drums, Ryan Wolves is on bass. This week's song is Swingin' from their latest EP release called Here It Is. They can be found, of course, at eagleson.bandcamp.com. What's really interesting is I did have a chance today to actually listen to all their tracks. No kidding, they got a great hard and classic rock influence that includes to me, they did sound a little bit more like the Sheepdogs, Black Keys with a little bit of Monster Truck. And I've probably had a conversation with you about Monster Truck and how they're just a great grinding rock band and great Canadian.
They got some local connections too to the city, and it seems like everyone knows someone who knows someone who's in the band or something.
Yeah, I do.
That's cool. Yeah, well, that means they're good guys, right?
They are good dudes.
Basically, the new generation's Helix.
Oh God.
I'm looking forward to that already. And these guys are really good at being able to release high quality EPs or singles. So they're all about quality over quantity type attitude, which of course has inspired them from Monster Truck. They did make it pretty far in that live 88.5 Big Money shot. So look forward to listening to that song again. It's called Here It Is. It's from the EP, sorry, Here It Is. The song is called Swinging. Again, that's Eagleson, the band, found at eagleson.bandcamp.com. So
sounds awesome, and well, this has been
check it out.
Fun as always.
Yep.
And can't wait for this week's game, and hopefully all of you enjoy a little game preview that we will put out
Thursday morning.
Thursday morning. Sounds awesome.
All right, guys.
Right on.
Thanks for listening.
Hey guys, for Instagram photos, check us out at BleedRedBlacks. For game day photos, tailgate photos, and photos of whatever, come check us out at BleedRedBlacks.
Dude, isn't she a Bombers fan?
Let me laugh even harder.
But for the love of God, please start hook sliding.
Dude, whatever. She's an Ottawa fan too.
Did Buck Pierce's constant injuries not teach you guys anything?
Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Enough ranting, on to the games.
Really? Righteous. Welcome to Around the CFL with Jin on the Bleed Red Blacks podcast.
It's the last edition of Around the CFL before the regular season starts, and I should probably be keeping you up to speed about some of the big cuts that were announced this past weekend as the 9 teams worked their rosters down to the 46-man limit in time for Saturday's deadline. Except that I left town before that deadline, and I haven't had a chance to record anything since I've been away. So I'm leaving all the talk about the cuts to some of the other great podcasts out there, and instead, I'm going to talk about the guys who do the cutting, the coaches. It's a tough job to select the 46 guys who are going to carry you through the season, and it's not lost on the coaching staff that when they make these decisions, they're having an impact on a guy's dreams, on his career, and on his family. There are some tough conversations to be had on Trim Down Weekend, and it's got to be hard on the coaches too. So in their honor, here's a quick and dirty intro to the league's 9 head coaches. Beginning his second year as head coach of the Montreal Alouettes is Tom Higgins. Higgins has long been a coach in the league and has an impressive record of 72-53-1 as a head coach. With Montreal's not so great start to the season last year and some questionable early season revolving door decisions around the quarterbacks, it's fair to say that a lot of us wondered how long before Jim Pop's patience would completely run out. But Higgins turned the season around for the Owls, marched them into second place in the East, and ended up being a finalist for Coach of the Year. Why did we even doubt his year's worth of experience in the first place? In Hamilton, head coach Kent Austin has been affectionately dubbed Coach Grumpy Cat by fans around the league. He is a passionate head coach, and he wears every single emotion that he has ever had in his entire life right there on his sleeve for everyone to see. But his players love him, and it must be because he turned the ship around in Hamilton and brought his team to the big show 2 years in a row. While he hasn't earned a Grey Cup ring with the Ticats, he did lead the Riders to their 2007 Grey Cup victory, and as a head coach, he has a winning record of 31-23. Die-hard Ottawa fans may remember that he began his CFL coaching career in 2003 working the Renegades quarterbacks. Scott Milanovich got his first head coach gig in 2011 with the Toronto Argonauts, a career that started out pretty damn well considering that he led the team to victory in the 100th Grey Cup in 2012. He has a reputation for being a brilliant offensive strategist, likely earned while coordinating the offense of the Montreal Alouettes during the height of the Calvillo days, which earned him 2 Grey Cup rings. Under his leadership in Toronto, Ricky Ray has been able to find a second life in his career. Milanovich's record as a head coach is 26-24. In the wake of Ray's injury, if anyone can inspire Toronto's offense to greatness, it will be Milanovich. In Ottawa, head coach Rick Campbell is starting his second year as head coach in the league. Building a team from scratch is not easy, as Campbell's 2-16 record demonstrates. But there's a reason Desjardins sought him out, and that reason is his impressive career as a defensive coach. Surely his experience as coordinator in both Edmonton and Calgary has paid off in spades, and we saw this last year when Ottawa's defense was often the only bright spot to take from each game. There will be a lot of pressure on Campbell this year to improve the record in Ottawa, and this quiet leader will carry a lot of weight on his shoulders this weekend as he is making cuts. Mike O'Shea is beginning his second year as a head coach, both in the league and in Winnipeg. Now, I'm biased, but if I had to pick a favorite head coach in the league, it would be O'Shea, hands down. As a player, this guy was a beast on special teams and on defense. But as a coach, he is calm, he is cool, and he is collected, and he never lets anything get to him on the field. Plus, he shows a lot of faith in his players to make the tough plays when they need to. Last season, it looked as though he had completely turned the Bombers around when they started out at 5-1. But things went downhill from there. Even though he only pulled off a 7-11 record, it is the best that this team has done since 2011. Players love him, fans love him, and I expect that he will coach in this league for a very long time. Plus, those shorts. Enough said. Corey Chamberlain is beginning his 4th season as head coach in the CFL, all with the Green Riders. He has a 29-25 record and 1 Grey Cup ring from 2013. Although usually fairly calm and cool along the sidelines, Chamberlain has earned some notoriety of late for his particular style of motivation when the cameras aren't rolling, including fiery locker room and training camp speeches where he threatens to hand out pink slips to players who just aren't trying hard enough. He's earned the reputation for being a coach who likes to take charge and who likes to be aggressive. With a new offensive and defensive coordinator underneath him this year, he clearly wants to change things up and bring the Riders back to the top of the West. Chris Jones is beginning his 2nd year as head coach in the league and with Edmonton. Jones is a bit of a controversial guy. Remember Red Blacks fans when the Eskimos didn't bother to show up for the national anthem last year? That was Jones. And fans across the league may have noticed that he wasn't shaking hands with the opposing coach at the end of each game. Gruff or not, Jones was a finalist for Coach of the Year in 2014 because of how he turned the Edmonton Eskimos around and brought them to a 2nd place finish in the West. He clearly trusts his quarterback, he trusts his guys, and he gets the job done. Plus, this year, he's been shaking hands in the preseason. Will we see a kinder, gentler Chris Jones? Probably not, but we will see a guy determined to improve on his 12-16 record. John Huffnagel, last year's Coach of the Year, is fast approaching legend status in the CFL after leading the Stampeders to a Grey Cup victory in 2014. Huff, as he is known, has spent most of his CFL coaching career in Calgary, both as offensive coordinator and as head coach. His first full season as head coach of the Stamps was in 2008 when he led the team to a Grey Cup. He brought them back to the game in 2012 when they lost to the Argos, and then back again in 2014 for the win. He's racked up an impressive 88-36-1 record as head coach. Let me repeat that, 88-36-1. He has also been a strong advocate of raising awareness of breast cancer. It's during his time that the Stamps started the Pink Power campaign, which has since been adopted around the league. This will be his last year as a head coach, when in 2016 he will hand the reins over to offensive coordinator Dave Dickinson. Finally, in BC, there's a new head coach in town after 3 years of Mike Benavides. Jeff Tedford was on Wally Buono's coaching staff in Calgary for a few years in the 90s, but he is known primarily for developing some exceptional offensive talent out of the University of California, including Aaron Rodgers and Marshawn Lynch. I admit I don't know too much about him yet, but listening to the BC Lions podcast, it sounds like he runs a fast-paced practice and is working his guys hard. After 3 years of seeing his team lose in the playoffs, Buono has been bound and determined to bring in a guy who he thinks can bring some consistency back to his team and get the job done. Quick recap of the preseason games this week. In a rain-soaked game in Montreal, the Argos downed the Owls 30-10, getting some help from the weather to force turnovers, 2 of which led to touchdowns. Zach Collaros saw action on Friday night as his Hamilton Tiger Cats beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 26-15. In just 2 quarters, Collaros managed to throw up 183 yards and complete 14 of 17 passes, picking up right where he left off last season. Despite being behind most of the night, the Calgary Stampeders rallied with 21 points in the 4th quarter to beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders 37-29. Nick Dembski continues to show his moves as a kick returner, and we may even see this kid taking on some of those duties during the regular season. Finally, the Edmonton Eskimos beat the BC Lions 18-13. Good news though for Lions fans, Travis Lulay played the entire first half, going 8 for 13, 121 yards and a touchdown, and his shoulder looked good. Fans are probably breathing big sighs of relief. Well, that's it for this week's head coach edition of Around the CFL. Remember to tweet us back with your thoughts about your league at BleedRedBlacks and at Ottawa J.
Here at Bleed Red Blacks, we love our football, but we also love the music our great city has to offer. It's the Bytown Beats local music spotlight segment on the Bleed Red Blacks podcast. Today's featured artist, Eagleson.
Into a down the street, bones split on the sacks.
Thank you for listening to this week's installment of the Bleed Red Blacks podcast. All musical content used in this podcast is all local Ottawa talent. If you are a local artist wanting to get your material heard on Bleed Red Blacks, send us a message on our Facebook group. Tune in next time, and remember to bleed red black.